Boom, we're back. We're back. Why our generation is hopping out of kids. What's your guys' take on that? I feel like inflation's gone up, and just having a kid right now is way too expensive. Way, way too expensive. Back then, I feel like it was more common to have a kid and then figure it out. Now, you can't even just have a kid and figure it out because you're fucked if you have a kid. You gotta pay for diapers, then you gotta pay for food, then you gotta pay for fucking Pampers, baby food, baby formula. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Back then it was a little easier in my opinion, and then jobs weren't as hard to get back then. I feel like a little education was needed to get like a really, not a well-paying job. Well, yeah, a well-paying job. Like education wasn't really like now. You need 5 years of experience for a high-paying job. Then you need 2 years of schooling plus a degree. Then you need a master's on top of that. Then they want you to be experienced within the field already 5 years or something like that. It's like stupid requirements now. It just makes I feel like job opportunities are a lot harder now. Back then it was way easier. Like get example too, like cops right after high school, you could literally go into the police department without any college like education. Some college education I guess is good, but you could honestly just go straight to the police academy and go straight out of high school, which is ridiculous to me. Now it's more like you gotta go to college, then you gotta have some experience, then you gotta have 2 years of something like that was within the field of what you're doing that gives you like an internship or something like that, which is crazy, and which is why I feel like now having a kid is a lot harder to maintain a kid than it was back then. Now, that's why our generation, I mean, in my opinion, we're smarter. We're smart. We're not stupid. We're not going to have a kid and fucking leave them like that. We're smart. But it's crazy that we chosen not to have kids now. It's smart, though. It's smart. Fuck them kids.
So the world has a problem. We're not having enough kids, especially in the richest of countries. And this is something that could have huge effects for our economy, our society.
For sure it's going to have an effect on our economy. It's going to make, jobs, the jobs are going to go down for sure. Because we're not going to have enough people to maintain those jobs. But I feel like we're already going to lose our jobs because of AI. Once AI starts moving in more of a rapid pace like this, you're going to see robots take over, like Amazon jobs, delivery jobs, warehouse jobs, McDonald's jobs. They're all going to be robot efficiently. It's all going to be AI. So you're going to straight go to the window, order, and then an AI is just going to pop your food out type of deal. Watch. Give it like, I say probably like 15, not that long. In the next 10 years. I'm telling you. My opinion, there's so many innovators and thinkers now. It's crazy. It's crazy how fast technology moves like that.
And our future. And that's probably because
So I feel like the labor jobs, the labor workforce is going to be a little harder. It's going to be harder to maintain, and then construction jobs are going to be harder to maintain. But then again, AI is going so efficiently that I don't even think you're going to need construction jobs because AI is already building houses. It's already able to build houses, which is ridiculous. Well, that's crazy. That's crazy. So you're going to have to figure out a different type of way of working. Other than, I feel like breaking your back or, obviously probably like paramedics are going to be needed. Cops obviously are still going to be needed. Officials are going to be needed. Prosecutors are going to be needed. Stuff like that. But I feel like the labor workforce is going to be going out soon.
while they're still in the womb, kids are really expensive.
That's all they do is take
That's
money.
weird. Okay, so bad magic tricks aside, here's the really crazy part. No one seems to agree on what's really causing this decline, or even what we should.
In my opinion, what's causing the decline is the rapid pace of people getting paid so highly. Like minimum wage is going high so fastly that nobody can catch up. Nobody can catch up. And when you're getting paid so much more money, everything else got to come up. Taxes got to go up. Food's got to go up. Everything else in society has to go up, which is crazy.
Be doing it.
I feel like we were moving too fast with the tech boom and everything. It was just everything was too quick. Everybody was making money so
Last
fast.
year, the U.S. fertility rate hit an all-time low of 1.62 births per woman. That's the lowest birth rate since the government started tracking the statistic in the 1930s. But back in the 50s, the fertility rate was about 3.7 births per woman.
Well, because
and you need at least
everybody was going to war
2.1 births just to
back
keep
then.
the population steady. And it's not just the US dealing with this problem. It's the entire world. Countries like Japan, Italy, Germany, they're all seeing similar drops. Japan, for example, recorded its lowest number of births ever. And Italy has actually declared a national state of emergency because their birth rate is so low. But it gets even worse when you zoom out and you look at the global picture. According to the Pew Research Center, population growth is projected to flatline by the year 2100. And in some countries, it's already happening. South Korea's fertility rate, for example, dropped to 0.72 in 2022, the lowest in the world. To put that in perspective, that's less than half of what's needed to maintain a stable population. So if this trend keeps on going, South Korea could see its population cut in half in just a couple generations. So the other question is, what's causing people to have less kids? And this is where things get a little tricky. Some argue that it's because women have more freedom and more women are pursuing higher education and careers. And as a result...
That's true too. That is true too. Women are pursuing more higher careers and they're getting higher job opportunities. So they don't care about having a baby right now at that point.
They're waiting longer to have kids, or they're choosing not to have them at all. And some people say it's the rise of dinks or dual income, no kids households. Some people argue it's the decline of religion or the decline of fertility rates thanks to the chemicals and pesticides that's in our food. But regardless of what the real reason is, the outcome's pretty bad. And as someone who wants to be a parent someday, I just want to know what's causing this to happen, and I also want to know how expensive is it to really become a parent? And how much is it?
How expensive is it, man?
Gonna cost our future?
I'm pretty sure you gotta at least have like 100K saved up to have a kid right now.
If we stop becoming parents. There's some really interesting data.
And you gotta have a house. Paid off house, 100K in your car, in your bank account, and a car. Cause them diapers gonna get expensive, baby formula's gonna get expensive, food's gonna get expensive, then you gotta buy backpacks, then you gotta buy shoes, clothing, oh man.
Behind all of this that I want to share with you, Lord. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well, come for the finance, and stay for the magic of babies. One of the questions I had is, why is no one having kids today as compared to just 20?
I'm never gonna have a kid, no thank you. Unless the economy gets better, the minimum wage gets higher, jobs get better, and stuff like that, then I'll have a kid. But until then, which I doubt it's ever gonna happen, no niños, no kiddos,
years ago.
No bueno.
And the truth is, there's a lot of different reasons. One US study asked people between the ages of 18 to 49 why they didn't want to have kids, and 56% said they just didn't want to.
Honestly,
the other half said
it
was for a variety of different reasons, like medical, financial, having no partner, age, climate change, or the
main is financial.
Partner just didn't want to have kids, and generally the state of the world. And one really surprising reason that kept showing up throughout all the different studies that I looked at across all the different countries was that trouble finding a partner was at 15% of the people surveyed, which is really weird considering the average person spends almost an hour a day on their dating apps. It's now a lot easier than ever before to meet people thanks to apps like Tinder, POF, Bumble, eHarmony, and apps like that. But people also say, despite how easy it is to get a date, it's becoming a lot harder to find a partner for the long term to have kids with, and one of the reasons why is because of the very same technology that was supposed to help us.
That's true too. You know what? That's true. That's true. Having a kid and then technology is kind of hard. With technology, it's kind of hard. I get that.
Pew Research found that 75% of the people they polled said it was either very or somewhat difficult to find someone in the past year, either because they had trouble approaching them or that person didn't meet their expectations. All of which led to a burnout for a variety of different reasons that I'm sure.
It's because social media clogs your brain so much that when you meet somebody, your expectations are through the roof. Like, absolutely through the roof. Like, and then when they don't meet your expectations, you're just let down. And you want to go into a new, like, adventure, new exploring. And that makes you feel like, oh, that gives you a new sense of, oh, it's new. I'm exploring something, like, I have never felt before type of deal. When you could have just, like, not have your expectations so high, and just, you know, be happy with the outcome of whatever, what's going to happen. Just be happy that you're even there. And that's it. Some people go out with so high expectations, like they're going to marry this person, they're going to have kids with this person, or whatever. This person is their dream mate. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're not. You got to accept that.
For most of us.
And the easier you guys accept stuff like that, it'll get easier to just move on like that and just say, you know what? Water under the bridge. It is what it is. Keep it going. Keep it pushing. Next partner, next one.
Experienced at some point, like being ghosted and or lied to, rejected.
You see, I would ghost a lot of people. I ain't even gonna lie. People will ghost me too, but I don't take it too hard.
Feeling like you're having a repetitive conversation all the time.
If you get rejected, that means you're trying, and if you're trying, that means you're doing something right.
But what's interesting to me about all these studies is that these apps, which ultimately are just tools that were meant to bring us closer together, are also the tools that keep us far apart. And I think so much of that is because social media isn't real.
It's not real.
Surface level
exactly.
marketing.
They literally only show you the good parts in their life. And they don't ever show you the bad parts. They don't ever show you, like, the grinding parts. They don't ever show you, like, when they cry or when they're sad. They don't ever show you guys. They just show you guys, like, the high of them. And that's it. So whenever you guys see, like, travel and they're so happy, maybe that was, like, years ago when they just barely posted it. And you guys think, like, man, I should be living like that every day traveling. What the fuck? And you guys get all depressed.
And authentic.
That's why, bro, I stopped going on social media. I hate social media. I only go on YouTube, and now the only reason I go on TikTok is just so I can promote my YouTube videos. But I hate social media. I deleted Instagram, deleted Facebook, I deleted Snapchat, bro. I don't have any social media. That shit, it gets, like, draining mentally, and then it's like, it brings you, and it makes you feel like you're not where you need to be compared to everybody else. And that's not even the case. People are fake. A lot of people are faking social. It's all fake. It's a facade. It's a whole facade. It's like, it's a fugazi. It's a fugazi. It's not there.
Seems like someone better is just a swipe away, leading to pretty grim statistics like 1 in 5.
Intel's up 7%. Intel's up 7% in the after hours. Oh, we got Intel calls that are about to hit crazy when we wake up. And I got Intel. And I got some Intel. Freaking, what's it called? Shares. So let's get it.
People lying about their age. 1 in 7 lying about their income.
Yep.
1 in 8 lying about their job. All of which.
That too, because, like, since social media, everybody has social media. I feel like having, like, a normal job to a girl, it's kind of embarrassing to some people. Like, in my opinion, it was embarrassing to me, and I know other people feel like that. Like, having a normal 9 to 5 is, like, embarrassing as fuck. In my opinion, unless you have, like, a great paying job, like, then it's not embarrassing, obviously, because you're getting paid so much, so it doesn't even matter whether you're working 9 to 5. But for the people that don't get paid higher than, I believe, 30 an hour, it's kind of like an embarrassment to you, because it's like, not embarrassment, because I mean that's still gonna pay the bills regardless. But, like, for me, in my case, because I would be constantly on social media, I would feel embarrassed because I'm not, like, where everybody else is at, and I'm there. If that makes sense. I don't know.
Led to a decline in mental health, leaving people feeling 3 times more stressed than people who don't use these dating apps at all.
You can go on 3 dates with someone and have an amazing time, and then never hear from them again.
That's me. That's literally me. Literally me. You could go on 3 dates with me, and I will ghost the fuck out you, act like I never met you. Just because, honestly, it's not even that, like, and the reason I do it, or I used to do it, it's not because, like, I hate you or I didn't like the dates. It's just like, bro, I get bored. Like, I'm so bored, and it's because of social media. I'm not trying to be, like, sound like a, like, how do I say, like a hoe or something like that, or like a man, you know? But, like, it's just like, there's so many people on social media that you get, like, man, fudge that, I can do this, or fudge that, I can go do that, you know? It's crazy.
The times apps lead us to undervalue people that we'd actually like in real life and overvalue people we wouldn't give a second thought to.
Like, I know people that have met the love of their...
Especially influencers. That is true with influencers. There's a bunch of people that you guys would fucking hate if you guys met in real life. Like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, all them. But you guys don't like them because it's behind a fucking camera and a streamer and it's a... you guys wouldn't hate them if you met them in real life.
Life on these apps, but also like the overwhelming sentiment toward these apps is they don't work.
So that's one major
why I don't
reason
spend a lot
why
of time on
people
TikTok
aren't
or
having as
anything like
many
that.
kids, but there's another big reason. Money. I wanted to know,
Money is a
how
big
much
reason.
does it cost to become a parent? And I found that raising a child in the US is expensive.
Hell yeah.
Really expensive.
Really
It costs
expensive, I
about
told you.
$300,000 to raise.
Oh my god. $300,000 to raise a kid? 300K? United States money spent on raising a child to age of 17 is $100,000,
Child
$300,000
to age 17. And
oh god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Who the fuck has that kind of money? Not me.
that doesn't
And I know
include
some of y'all
education.
don't.
If you factor in college,
And if you do
that
have that money, congratulations, because W for you.
number jumps to over
I respect-
$400,000.
Damn, that's a lot of
Now, if
money.
you don't want to spend
For a kid,
$400,000,
that's not even to maintain them for, like, say example, for longer. So, that's crazy. It's just
raising a
until 17.
child, I don't blame you. And if
Come
instead
on.
you want to spend a lot less money on growing your career, especially in the YouTube space, then I've got something that can really help you out with today's sponsor.
No
YouTubers are
sponsors.
using this tool today. Back to, just for context, $400,000 invested over the course of 17 years,
Invested.
which is about the same as investing $2,000 a month, means that instead of having a kid, you could end up with $810,000.
Wow.
Another study found that parents raising just 2 children until they're the age of 22 would cost them an average of $750,000, including the cost of everything, factoring in education and a bigger house for a bigger family. That's not even the crazy part. The crazy part is that those studies were done between the years
Wow.
2014 and 2017. So factoring inflation since 2017 means that the new estimate would be a lot closer to $1 million. And in the US,
Oh my Lord.
64% of young adults who are not having as many kids as they'd like to say that it's childcare costs that are the major reason why. Childcare costs are growing at almost twice the rate of inflation. And it's not just an American problem either. It's a global problem. In Britain, for example, couples spend over 20% of their salaries on
On their
childcare.
kids.
And I think we can all agree that it's not getting any easier for millennials or Gen Z who are already struggling with student debt, high housing costs, stagnant wages, and
what I'm
record
saying?
levels of credit card debt. And when I look at the overall big picture of how much the world has changed its mind about having kids in the last 20 years, it blew my mind.
Hell yeah.
Back in
Nobody
2003,
wants kids now.
83% of people said they wanted to be a
Oh my
parent.
god. In
Fast-
2003, 83% said they wanted kids.
Forward to 2024,
Now let's see 2024. Let's
and
see.
that number dropped to
50%, 50-50. People are 50-50.
51%. In Canada, the numbers tell a similar story.
Crazy.
In 2001, only 7% of Canadians said they didn't want kids.
Only 7%.
But by 2022,
By 2022.
that number jumped to 34%. So
Damn.
these numbers show that there's a massive cultural shift in how younger generations are thinking about
Yeah,
their
for
future.
sure.
And it makes a lot of sense in a world where job security is no longer guaranteed, where owning a home seems like a dream for so many people, and
It
where
is basically a
potentially
dream.
the food we consume is impacting our fertility. And it's no wonder more and more people are questioning whether they want to bring a child into this world.
Nah, for real.
So the next question I had is,
People are
so
smart.
what? It seems like a personal choice whether to have kids or not, and if some people can't afford to or they don't want to have kids, then we should all respect it, and I still think that. But I also wanted to know, what happens if this trend continues? What happens if more and more people start to think this way? And it turns out there's some really interesting effects that start to happen to the global economy. And here's what happens first. As the birth rate declines, less young people will enter the workforce, and that
told
makes
you.
it harder
I told
for
you.
companies to find
I told you, less people will be working in the workforce. So watch.
employees. And this could lead to what's called a labor shortage.
I
And
told you a labor short.
Japan is a really good example.
You see what I'm saying? I said that. I said that in the beginning of the video. that if we don't have kids, the companies like Amazon, like the warehouse companies that and like McDonald's jobs that basically hire teens and stuff like that, and other jobs that in that field, they're gonna have a shortage, like within like that. And within that shortage is where we can capitalize and bring the minimum wage back to where it needs to be. I don't know exactly where that needs to be. You guys can decide that, but that's where we're gonna do it.
Example of this.
And it's not gonna be until like 6, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. Now my max is 10 years because AI is moving so rapidly like this. So once that happens, once the first robot is like perfect, that's when it starts.
In Japan, nearly 30% of the population is now over the age of 65.
Damn.
With only about 2 working age people supporting each retiree. Now to put that in perspective, a healthy balance would be around 4 workers for each retiree. But when there's only 2 workers for every retired person, the financial burden on the working population has to increase.
Yep.
It means more people having to contribute more to Social Security and pensions, which can lead to higher taxes and reduced benefits. And this could also lead to more labor shortages. And when there's not enough workers, companies are forced to automate their jobs, which is usually not a good thing for the workers. Or they have to hire older workers to fill the gaps. And when there's a shortage of workers, their incomes tend to go up because companies have to compete more
Exactly what I'm saying.
to attract top talent. And higher incomes, which are usually a good thing, can actually lead to higher costs for businesses. And when businesses face higher costs, they usually pass those higher costs to the consumers in the form of higher prices. And since there's less consumers doing the consuming, you get even
Smart. It's true. That is true.
higher prices, so that pay raise cancels out. And we saw this happen to the US when inflation was higher than our wage growth.
That's
and over
crazy.
time, this also contributes to inflation, making everything more expensive for everyone.
Yep.
And all of this affects investors too. If the population shrinks, companies see less revenue, which could hurt their stock prices. So this brings me to the question, what can we do about this? And there's a lot of different solutions that have been proposed, but not all of them have been super successful. Taiwan, for example, spent over $3 billion trying to encourage higher birth rates, but it didn't really work. France spends around 4% of its GDP on family measures, including tax breaks and childcare benefits, but it also struggles
And
with rates. Even in countries like Norway, Finland, and Germany, where the government spends tens of thousands of dollars per child on early childhood care, birth rates continue to decline. In the US, unfortunately, parental leave policies are a lot less generous. The United States offers only 12 weeks of unpaid leave. And even then, only 56% of workers are eligible for this leave. Studies also show that women see a drop in earnings after having children, which is known as the motherhood penalty. And this pay gap stays with them for the long term, while men experience a small, short-term dip in their earnings. And in Britain, mothers are 3 times more likely to work part-time than fathers, which also contributes to the pay gap. So this lack of support makes it really hard for parents, especially mothers, to return to work after having a child, which can discourage them from having any children to begin with. And even if we gave women more generous parental leave policies, studies show it still wouldn't completely solve the problem. Japan, for example, has a very generous parental leave policy, allowing mothers to leave for 1 year of paid leave at 2/3 of their salary. But fertility rates in Japan are still some of the lowest in the world. And this suggests that it's not just about offering paid leave, it's also about changing cultural norms around who's responsible for raising children. So if we want more people to have children, we need to create an environment where it's possible to do that without sacrificing career or financial stability for both men and women. So making this video did kind of make me sad to realize that we're living in a world where less people are choosing to have kids, and the economic consequence of that could be significant, from labor shortages to higher taxes to struggling pension systems and rising healthcare costs. the effects of declining birth rates will continue to affect the world. And it's a very complicated problem, and there's no easy solution. And yeah, that makes me kind of sad. So I don't want to leave this whole video feeling sad, so I found some good news. And the good news is, studies show that having kids is not really a requirement for being happy. A survey in Britain found that a mother's happiness level will go up leading up to the years of giving birth, then they'll peak at birth, but then they'll go back to normal 1 to 2 years after giving birth. In the United States, they ran a similar survey, and they found 82% said that being a parent was really enjoyable, but 29% also said it was extremely stressful most of the time. In fact, most people surveyed said when it comes to their happiness, only 26% said having kids was important to their happiness, while over twice that amount of people, 61% said it was just having close friends. But most people said it was about having a fulfilling career and a life that contributed most to their overall happiness. And that doesn't really surprise me. When I first started investing in 2014, I started hearing about this term called DINKs, which stands for Dual Income No Kids, or couples that are super focused on their careers, which has allowed them the freedom to save up a bunch of money, to invest it, and then travel to see the world and live stress-free. In fact, the Census Bureau found that DINKs saved an average of 9% more compared to those with a dual income and with kids. And they were also found to have a higher median net worth. It makes a lot of sense to me why people are choosing to have less kids right now, especially because now it's a lot more socially acceptable to do that than it was before. But if there's one thing I'd like to leave you with though, it's this. Remember that watching videos with statistics and surveys is that this is just one snapshot in history. It's just one frame of reference at this moment in time.
Which is crazy to me.
And that will change, just as it was different 20 years ago. And you might find yourself sometime later in your life changing your priorities about what you want out of life, especially as you eventually gain that freedom, financial independence, and you want to share that with someone else, whether it's with another partner or with your kids. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think. Are you planning on having kids someday? Do you think you'll be doom scrolling on these dating apps forever? Or do you just want to focus on your career instead? Let me know down in the...
I'm focusing more on my career. Kids are not really a priority to me right now. I mean, of course, I would love to have a kid, but financially speaking, I'm not able to. And just the way I think, I'm not able to yet. I'm not there yet, I feel like. And also like what he said, like career-wise, I want to be in a career where I know I'm comfortable and I'm like gaining a good, comfortable, stable income where I'm like, all right, maybe I can share some of this with a kid. But I don't think that'll be anytime soon, just because of the type of economy we're in and the type of world we're in right now. I don't see it changing anytime soon. But you guys can let me know down below what you guys think. Why you guys aren't having kids, or if you would like to have kids at some time in the future. And I will get you guys in the next video.